This show is not personal financial advice. We cover broad principles, break the silence on issues impacting everyday Americans, and point you towards the tools to take ownership. You should always do your own research and consult with a tax professional or a licensed investment advisor for guidance tailored to your personal situation. Welcome to the Backwoods Money Podcast. I'm your host Dalton, and today we are talking about something that hits home for a lot of our rural listeners: the lack of mid to high paying jobs. If you can't tell from the show name or from the cornbread accent, I'm living it too. Some rural towns have decent paying jobs, but most, not so much. And if you've ever Googled work from home jobs and ended up in a Facebook group about selling essential oils, overpriced pots and pans, or vacuum cleaners, you're not alone. But let's talk about the less scammy work from home jobs that are out there. During COVID, and at that point, for about a decade or so, I'd been working in public safety, which wasn't great pay. The hours and the shifts were very long. We were on call on most of our days off without being paid to be on call. And on top of that, I was driving 1 hour each way to get to work every day. So that was 2 hours out of my day, plus the wear and tear on my vehicle and the cost of gas to get there. Needless to say, I was very burnt out. My girlfriend at the time, now my fiance, was working remote during COVID. So I did realize that work from home jobs did exist, but I had no clue what industries offered remote work or even how to go about getting a remote job. And soon after, I had a coworker that was leaving public safety to go work for an insurance company who was offering a remote position for them. I ended up going to work for that same insurance company. And while many companies have began to return to office in a post-COVID world, I've still found that many companies are hiring for customer service rep positions, insurance related positions, and other positions, and many of those are customer facing roles, but they generally don't require a specialized degree, certification, or other high qualification that you need before applying for those positions. So if you can talk to people and use a computer, you're already halfway there to those job requirements. Now, of course, there are still positions that are going to require a license or certification before you're able to apply, but don't let those discourage you. There are many companies out there who either offer that certification or licensing during your onboarding training, or may offer other non-certified or non-licensed positions. For example, when I started in the insurance industry, I didn't come in with any certifications or licenses. Now, that did limit the positions I could apply for. I applied for a call center role, which was basically taking calls from customers all day, but didn't require any special licensing, certifications, or degrees. And that is what my insurance career was then built on. The company would then pay for me to go get my licensing as a claims adjuster, or if you were in sales and wanted to build on that path. The opportunities were there. The key thing was getting our foot into the door. One thing that I found with remote work, especially being in a rural area, was that it opened up the opportunity for those mid to high paying jobs that we realistically just couldn't find in our area. I would have had to have driven over an hour each way just to find that comparable income. Another thing that I found with remote work was not having a commute not only is less gas and vehicle maintenance that you have to budget for, but it's also a lot less stress. I found that not having that daily commute of over 2 hours of my day gone was contributing to better mental health, and I was able to spend more time at home with family and loved ones. Like I mentioned before, there are many scams, multi-level marketing pyramid schemes, and fake job postings out there. Let's talk about how to avoid those. We'll start with the most obvious way to avoid those. If the job requires you to buy a starter kit and recruit your grandmother and everybody else in your family, it's probably not a job, it's a pyramid. I don't want to get in trouble with NBC, so I can't include the clip of this, but just picture Michael Scott from The Office drawing a triangle and trying to explain how it's not a pyramid. You should always apply directly from the employer's website. You should research the company and what the job is, and use common sense. Remember that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. It's also worth mentioning, to avoid the multi level marketing pyramid schemes out there, that if somebody reaches out to you that you've not spoken to since high school, uses a lot of emojis, talks about making a lot of money, and can't give you direct answers on what company they work for, it's probably a pyramid scheme and you're probably going to lose money. While there are many reputable companies that are hiring for remote work, I wanted to mention a few of the more well known ones. Some of these companies are CVS, Cigna, Amazon, Progressive Insurance, and Kelly Services. It is also worth mentioning that remote work is not right for everybody. If you are not self disciplined, need oversight to get tasks done at work, or are just a general slacker, remote work may not be the best fit for you. So, again, I'm not saying that remote work is perfect and that it is right for everybody, but it did give me breathing room in my budget at the time and increase my income without having to geographically move. And it may be able to do the same for you if you're in the same boat. As always, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to our podcast. We're here to share information and stories that remind you that financial peace is not just for rich people. We don't provide direct financial or investment advice, but rather we discuss good financial principles that work in real life, not just as a theory or on spreadsheets. If you would like to read our articles or ask a question for a future episode or article, please visit www.backwoodsmoney.com. Again, that is www.backwoods.money.com.